Today we're checking out the Fuzzlord FET120 overdrive pedal. This pedal recreates the sound of the vintage 70s OR series amplifiers. So it's got a very distinctive mid-range voicing and a really nice overdrive tone that when you really crank up the gain, it kind of gets into the fuzz territory and pulls off that dope smoker sound that a lot of us know and love. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel so you don't miss any of the weekly music gear related videos that we put out. We're gonna go over the signal chain and then we're gonna get going on this demo. So let's go over the signal chain real quick before we get started. I'm playing two different guitars today. A First Act Custom Shop DC6 that's loaded up with Bareknuckle pickups. I'm also gonna be playing a JML Guitars JC6 that has an aluminum neck on it from Obscura MFG. I'm running Lollar pickups on that guitar. We're gonna be running into a Laney AOR50 amp. We're gonna be playing it clean for some of the riffs, and then I'm gonna crank up the gain, and then we're also gonna run the FET120 direct into the effects return so we can hear what this pedal sounds like as a preamp pedal. And then for the cab, we're running the matching Laney AOR series cab. And then like usual, we're running an SM57. If you wanna know more about all the specifics of the gear demos or check out links to this stuff, check out the description in this video. One last thing before we get started, I'm curious to know what one of your favorite vintage amplifiers is. So drop a comment below. Also let me know where you're watching from. And let's get started checking out what this pedal sounds like. right, so that was the FET120 running into the AOR set very clean. Now we're gonna crank up the gain on the AOR a little bit, get more of a baseline distortion sound out of the amp. We'll hear what that sounds like first, and then we'll kick on the pedal. I'm curious to know, after you hear this clip, drop a comment below and let me know which setup you liked better, with the amp clean or set a little bit dirty with the FET120 pushing it. Now that we've heard those clips, why don't we go ahead and run the FET120 direct into the effects return of this Laney AOR amplifier so we can hear what this pedal sounds like as a preamp pedal. What that means is we're running into the effects return and we're going to be bypassing the preamp of the Laney AOR. The preamp section of amplifiers really has a lot to do with the overall voicing of the amp. So we're basically running the FET120 direct into the phase inverter and then the power amp. So the voicing will be coming from the FET120. Let's see what that sounds like. Now that you've heard the FET120 running into the front of the amp clean, and then into the front of the amp with the amp a bit dirty and broken up, and then also as a preamp into the effects return, I'm curious to know what you think of it. Let's check out one more clip with the FET120 running to the effects return, and I'm going to push the FET120 with a couple other dirt pedals to see what that sounds like. Jason from Fuzzlord FX. I really appreciate you watching this video. Again, drop a comment below. I'm curious to know what you thought, what some of your favorite riffs were, and again, one of your favorite vintage amplifiers. If If you want to know more about the Fuzzlord FET120, check out fuzzlordfx.com, where we've got more info, more demos, and you can grab one for yourself. If you want to keep up with Fuzzlord FX on a daily and see what I'm up to, check out the Instagram page at Fuzzlord FX. If you want to know more about what inspired me to make this pedal and the backstory, I think you're going to want to check out the Pedal Demo podcast. I sat down with Eric Merrow from the Pedal Demo podcast and talked about the pedal and shared a bunch of cool things about how like it was one of the first Fuzzlord pedals that we ever put out that got popular. I was working on it in electrical engineering school, like literally in the front row class, like drawing the circuit out, and kind of got in trouble over it, but I stand by my decision to work on that then, and I'm still real happy about it. So sorry, not sorry, Professor Schumann. If you want to know more about the Pedal Demo podcast, check out iTunes and Spotify, and I'm going to leave a link to the description to that. I'm also going to leave a link in the description to this hat that I picked up while I was hanging out doing the interview for the Pedal Demo podcast. As always, a big thank you to our Patreon supporters that help make this channel possible. I really appreciate each and every one of you and how much you all do for this channel. So if you're curious to know about our Patreon page, if you want to see some more behind the scenes videos, or if you want to get early access to like new release pedals, we always release them a day or two early on our Patreon page, a limited number. Hit the link in the description and it'll take you over to our Patreon page. So I want to give a big thank you to Jeremy Hansen, David Ziegler, Vayuslavik, and Steve Reese from Does It Doom, as well as the folks over at Illuminati Guitars and the folks at Obscura MFG. That's the machine shop that handles all of our powder coating and CNC drilling. Again, I'm Jason from Fuzzlord FX. I appreciate you taking the time to watch this video, and I will talk to you in the comments.